Hello, my name is Sterling Edwards, and today I'd like to show you the main secrets of painting abstract scenes with watercolor. Watch the video until the very end. There's a lot of good things I'm going to show you. Let's take this big brush. That's that big 2-inch brush I've got. Let's get it wet, and let's get right to work on this paint. I'm scooping up some of that blue, that periwinkle color, coming right in here. See, I'm kind of painting around that center of interest. So I'm not trying to paint inside pencil lines. I'm just getting color on the paper. But I'm leaving that white right in here. Here's some of that pretty green. And that brush, if you notice, that covers a lot of territory very quickly. This is why you really try to want big brushes if you can. Small brushes are nice, but they can limit your movement sometimes. There's some of that pretty warm color I've got. So by looking at this, your eye already goes right there. That's my center of interest. Now this is all super light mid-tones. Let's go back and do some more color. This time I'm getting some of the water off my palette. I'm going to mix a little bit heavier mix. I'm getting the water out of my brush. Now if you look at this, you see it leaves a track. That's heavier body paint. Less water, more pigment. Here's some of the violet. I'll put some of that in here. What I'm going to start doing now, I'm using a little bit drier paint. These areas are wet, so I can't put a super wet brush on this. If I do, it's going to be a big bloom. So I'm using a little bit drier brush and drier paint. Now I can come in if I want to and kind of go around this like this. In a few minutes, we're going to do some of this graffito people have asked about. So I'm just putting a little bit heavier body paint on this. I tell you, if you don't think this is fun, try a few of these. This is so relaxing compared to doing a very detailed landscape or something. This is just fun stuff. And so I'm just moving that paint around. Still staying out of that white area. Now, while that's still in a semi-wet state, it's still kind of wet, I'm going to put some Payne's Gray in it. This Payne's Gray is going to make the color much darker. So it's a little bit of Payne's Gray, a little bit of the Prussian blue. Now I'm going to come in like this if I want to, put a strong dark, kind of near that white. It makes that white look very rich. And so I can tone some of these areas down a little bit if I want to. So what I'm looking for right now, I'm looking for areas that are starting to lose the shine just a little bit. That if they're super shiny, that's not the time to do graffito. You want to wait till the shine kind of goes away. It's kind of going away right in here. I'm taking an old credit card and I'm holding it very low. If you can see my hand, you don't hold it up high where it's all floppy. You don't want that. You want to hold it down low where you can really put some pressure on it. But let's see if we can't make a design right here. I'm pressing real hard. There's a beautiful calligraphic design. It's not supposed to be anything other than just a texture. I can use a corner of the card, get some beautiful linear design if I want to. And even over here, there's that little design I made originally. So now we're getting some interesting design in this piece. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing this. These areas are still a little bit wet. Let's put some more in here. This is why I just keep going back and forth till I get it where I want it. So here I'm just putting a little bit more dark in this. I might even put something right over here. And you see that if you can see it shows up on the camera, see how beautiful dry brush? That stuff's great. It's beautiful stuff. When you get it, don't mess with it. Leave it alone. It's beautiful texture. Now I'm going to switch brushes. This is my 1-inch flat. It's a flat nylon brush. I'm going to get some more of the Payne's Gray. I'm going to take some of this green. Got a nice, really dark, rich, heavy green mix here. Let's see if we can come right in here now and put some of that in here. And you notice that's very dark compared to everything else. So we're getting a very interesting design. And I'm being totally honest with you. I have no idea where this is going, but I guarantee it's going to be an abstract expressionist painting. That much I do know. Let's take that shape right in here, put that dark in it like this. Quick brush strokes. Quick brush strokes are very alluring. People love that spontaneity. That quick brush stroke has a very fresh look to it. If you want to improve your painting skills, it's essential to continually refine your abilities. It's also very important to do this under the guidance of a master you trust. Recently, I've conducted many online lessons with my students, and I can recommend a workshop that will suit everyone. Follow the link below in the video description and register for free. I'm sharing my exclusive tips and giving all the necessary knowledge, so join me. Together we're going to work on a masterpiece. All right, now I'm going to take a little small bristle brush. This is a little 1-inch bristle brush. It's clean. I've got some water in it. And I've got a tissue. I'm squeezing the excess water out of this brush. I'm going to use this to soften edges. I want this brush to be just barely damp but not wet. If I put it on the back of my thumb, it feels damp and it feels cool, but it's not leaving a wet, shiny spot. If it leaves a wet, shiny spot, it's too wet, get some more water out of it. Because I can use this now if I want to come in and soften some edges. Get these beautiful wet into wet watercolor edges. And you just, what edges you soften is going to be entirely up to you, because there's no rules that you have to soften any of them, but it's just something I like to do. Let's add a few more darks. Now in a few minutes, I'll dry this, and then we're going to start working on this. We will do some more sgraffito. In fact, some of these areas are getting dry enough now I can probably do it. Let's do this. So I can use that card. I can use a corner, get beautiful designs with it. And if you notice it, look how light that looks now that I put these midtones and darks around it. Just really I mean, even if I just signed the piece right now, that piece would be a very dynamic painting. You can't miss it, because that white area is so beautiful next to all these dark midtones. So I'm taking some more of my Payne's Gray. I'm taking some more of my Prussian Blue. And again, that's a pretty heavy body paint. I can't put a really wet brush on this right now. If I do, it's going to make a blossom. Now, one thing I will do, I'm going to take my rigger brush that's just got clear water. I'm just splattering, tapping some clear water. In a few minutes, you can see these beautiful wet textures up here. That's all part of my design about getting textures. And I can also take that brush and go like this with clear water. And if it's not too dry, you'll start seeing some little designs pop up in these areas. And I think I might do a little bit more sgraffito right over here. We'll put some more dark in this area, and then we're going to stop and dry this. Now, when I work fast like this, I'm not trying to show off, or I'm not trying to dazzle you. I'm just trying to get it all in while it's still wet. Because if I'm working on these wet shapes, I can't take my time and spend 20 minutes working over here, because this is all going to dry while I'm doing it. That's why I say if you get big brushes, you can just really keep the painting in motion, keep it all kind of moving around, and get these beautiful effects that you want. So this piece right now is, I think in my opinion, it's probably ready to go ahead and dry it. I'm gonna do some dry brush. I got this nice semi-wet paint. And let's see if we can't kind of come into the center of interest a little bit. So I'm holding the brush almost flat, almost parallel to the paper, just very light pressure, and just pressing down very quickly. Gets these nice dry brush effects. To get these nice broken edges, didn't even come in if you want to, with a little damp brush, and just kind of move stuff around. Dry brush is beautiful. In fact, I'm gonna do some with the, let's take some of that pretty yellow. I put a little bit of burnt sienna with it. So here I'm going to take this brush and just quickly drag it this way. Look at that pretty dry brush design. That is so beautiful. And by dragging the brush, what it does, the brush kind of skirts across the paper. It doesn't really make a strong brush stroke. It just has a nice, beautiful broken edge. And I can tell you from experience, people love that. I've sold so many pieces, and people just eat that up. They think that's so beautiful. And that's what I talk about when I talk about making your work very spontaneous. It's things like that, like this dry brush can do it. I'm just making a few more marks. Now I'm also going to come in with this same brush right around my center of interest and see if we can't start cutting into this design a little bit. So now I'm using my number 1-inch flat brush. I'm putting a few hard edges around my center of interest. Soften a little bit. Let's get some more of that Payne's Gray. That Payne's Gray is really pretty. Let's put it right over here. So this piece is looking really crazy, but that's good. It's an abstract. I will tell you this, when I started doing this, and I've got to say this because it's important. When I started doing my abstracts, I lost a lot of my collectors because I've been doing landscapes and florals for so many years in a very traditional manner. And a lot of my older collectors did not like my abstracts at all. They were, in fact, they were quite upset that I had gone into the abstraction. But it's something I just felt like I had to do. So, and the beautiful part about that is I lost my old collectors, but I picked up a world of new collectors who like abstracts. So there's always two sides to every coin. You might lose some on this end, but you make more on that end. Now, see, I'm just putting some more dark in here right now. Now, this piece, as fast as it was done, is almost finished. It's almost a finished abstract painting. So I'm just putting a few more darks, kind of embellishing my design a little bit. By embellishing, I'm just putting like, I want that shape right there to really stand out. I can put some dark around it, makes it more prominent. That's just Payne's gray. Now let's put some of that dark over here. We don't want to have it all on this side of the painting. I need some on this side also. And again, I'm doing it very quickly. Those quick brush strokes quite often result in that beautiful dry brush. So now the piece is really taking on a whole different look. Now, last thing I'm gonna do on this, I'm gonna do a couple more little negative shapes right in here, and then I'm gonna do some calligraphy. I'm gonna do that using my rigger brush, do some black calligraphy. So I'm just kind of just toning that down a little bit. Soften the edge once in a while. Let's get the rigger. This is my number 6. My number is a little skinny thing. That's a number 6 rigger. I want some black. Now, I don't have any black on my palette. Excuse me, but I can take my orange. This is my brilliant orange. I put some Payne's gray in it. The orange and Payne's gray make a black. Now I've got this really beautiful, beautiful black. And I've got my rigger brush loaded up. I'm holding it way back at the back. I'm not holding it down like this and really trying to trace things. What I want to do is make an interesting design. So hold the brush way back at the back and get my whole arm moving. Let's come right in here, for example, and see if we can't do something with this. Do it very quickly. It's not about tracing. It's about creating just a very energetic movement in my painting. I can do like that, get a few straight lines if I want to. Here's some black splatter. I'm loading that rigger brush up full of black. I'm tapping it back at the back, just gets these beautiful black splatters on it.
Sterling, we had a question regarding what dark colors you're using. Is it important for you what colors you're using what paints or pigment you're using when you're going to this dark layers?
It's
Or
not as yeah, it's not as important what dark you use as much as how much water is in the dark. If you this is just there's a lot of Payne's gray and blue, a lot of Payne's gray and green, and then so you see how I paint around my lighter areas. But when you work on a piece like this, you notice the darker I make these areas, the more prominent that looks. So I'm really deliberately trying to make this area look very, very enticing for the viewer by just putting all these darks in here. And of course, everything is just done very quickly and very haphazard, but it's got that abstraction to it that people just find so appealing. So when you work on something, just remember, if you make the paint less water and more pigment, makes it darker. If you want it lighter, add a little bit more water to it, it lightens it back up. This color back here is the same color as that. The only difference is this had more water, this has had more pigment. And so this piece right now, for all intents and purposes, is a finished abstract. Now I'm gonna put a mat around this. We're gonna see how it looks. Just to show you how these things look with a white mat. Give me 1 second, get my mat here. I always talk about using a white mat. This is actually, a single mat. This is a double mat. It's just a mat I keep in my studio just to lay on my paintings. But there's what you wind up with. There's the finished abstract. It's it's very unique. It's very unusual. It's very it's got the dynamics I look for. By that I mean it's the lights and the darks and the shapes and the textures. It just has a look to it. We have no idea what it is, but that's what people like. They want to make their own conclusions of what it is. I hope this video was helpful for you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we assist all individuals in mastering the skills of drawing and immerse themselves in the wonderful world of art. Don't forget to follow the link in the video description and register for my marathon. We'll see you soon. Thank you.